Okie guys. This song takes too long. I hope you're fine.
Hello,
But
doing well.
But like I said, listen to the lyrics. It's like a song about Google. It's like, just for an
Seriously?
example, Google. No, it's we want your data. That's what you know what I mean.
I was talking to my
the
sister about this the other day, is that some people, when they listen to songs, and apparently you're one of these people, you hear the words and you get a story. I just hear music. Like, I literally didn't know any of this. Keep going. Sorry. I'm fascinated.
No. It's cool. No, it's like always when I'm with friends or something and they don't speak so well English. It's like, and they're dancing to something and they say, yeah, it's a cool song. And I said, yeah, but did you ever really listen to it? They don't understand the words. They just dance along. And it's like,
And I would be one of those people, just happily dancing along.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing. You speak the language. I mean, of most of the songs which are played on the radio somewhere.
I know.
But hey,
There you go.
Rap,
Hello, Rap
how
Guy.
you doing?
I was talking and I didn't realize it was mute.
Ah,
My microphone was mute.
Yeah,
welcome.
That happens. That happened to me. I think last week or something. I was talking 3 minutes.
What I was going to say, do you know who wrote that lyrics?
No, I mean, if I know from.
I think it's a guy from the Facebook. I want your data.
Yeah, something. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's like I said, most people, especially in countries where they don't speak English as a native language, they don't listen to the lyrics. And I learned I think I learned most of the English of back in the days from DVDs, but mostly also from really listening to some songs and then checking out if I don't understand anything, some words. I check it in some dictionary.
Yeah, and that's I guess again, talking to my sister, it seems like people fall into two camps. Those like you that want to know what the singer's saying, and I guess people like me that just hear music and I might like pick up on a word or two, but it just it doesn't go much farther than that. Something in my brain.
You remember that rap? It wasn't a rap. It wasn't even hip hop. It's more hip hop or something. Sweat drop, where the sweat drop off my balls, and the people in the club were like, yeah, and dancing,
Wow.
and I was like, dude, they have no idea what the lyrics are.
That will be it. That's how that's the great filter. That's how they separate us. Well, I'm glad we're all here today. I do still hear us, right? Is there a way to put Rabtai? Is he on where he has to do Control A to speak, or is he just on an open mic?
I have to
there we go.
Push to talk. I'm on my phone, so I have to push to talk.
Devil, can you make it so that he can just speak like I can?
No, that's his selection in the user settings.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. So Rabtai, one difference is since you and I last spoke, the user setting has been added that allows us to speak freely. Is that too late?
Can you hear me now? Without
Oh yeah.
push to talk?
Yeah.
Perfect. You're there.
Yeah, but he's probably still at the cashier at Costco.
Are you at Costco? Okay. Well, I guess we should enjoy Costco while we can, because they're likely to shut our state down next week.
Living in a parking lot.
Yep, living in a parking lot. Now, is Fred joining us today?
Yeah, he
Hey
is.
guys, yes, I'm here listening. Good evening,
Hey,
everyone.
Fred. Good evening.
Good, Fred.
How are you?
Oh, very well, thanks. I just had a 6-hour drive today. I drove from Hamburg to Rotterdam to visit a
Oh,
friend.
wow.
So yeah, it's okay. A little bit tired, but well, keeping well and healthy.
Good. Likewise.
That's good.
Rotterdam. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah, just outside Rotterdam.
hey, I was thinking maybe we could wrap up from 2 weeks ago, and I had some ideas, things to talk about. I don't know if you guys had any agenda, but I have an agenda.
I mean,
Yeah, I seen
what about you?
something
You pick
earlier.
a topic and we just talk.
What's
Sorry.
that, Rep?
No, I was saying, why didn't you start a topic, like, something you want to talk, and we can just add it to the, just
Perfect.
add stuff.
Perfect. So my first question, this was, I can't remember whose question this was, but it was from 2 or 3 weeks ago. Why was Ring put on the LCC roadmap? I thought maybe Fred or Rabtai would know about that.
Fred would be a good person to answer that.
Well, I mean, the intent of Ring, as I spoke about on a number of occasions, was to bring the possibility to grow our community exponentially into the public. So both projects will be running side by side. So it seemed natural that Ring, brought to the world by the developers of LCC, would go on there as a milestone. We want the two projects to be continually linked and mutually beneficial business-wise moving forward. LCC we see as of course, as a hashing destination for people who are using mining equipment for Bitcoin. So to grow business and use cases, and Ring is the potential to grow into a huge market of people that are not as yet using cryptocurrency, but sitting on the fence and quite interested. So it seemed logical to keep the projects aligned and together because we don't want to, we're very, very committed to LCC's future. That's basically the reason, Matt, if that answers the question.
It does. So basically, you're saying Ring, Ring was an outgrowth maybe of LCC from the same developers, and so it's a connected part of the I guess ecosystem, right? That they're creating a cryptocurrency ecosystem in a way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about, as I spoke about, business development moving forward, there will be a point where we will, it's close at the moment, seeking funding to keep both projects' future sustainable. So with two blockchains running side by side, Ring has the great chance of bringing in more community members, to entertain themselves with the Rialto end-to-end encryption. And people that would come from the community would have, hopefully, if they get introduced to blockchain and crypto, they would see synergies and potential cost savings with using blockchain for their business. So we see them as two projects that will be linked moving forward business-wise. So
Awesome.
yeah, that's basically the reason. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I won't pump you too much with questions.
No, it's okay.
What are your expectations? For Hive 1.2, have they talked about it, or is that more of a Rabtai question?
It's more of a Tanner question, to be quite honest.
Okay.
But it addresses some of the blockchain stalls that we had noticed, we had experienced recently.
Yeah.
And some other improvements. I'm not really 100% exactly sure of all of the details. That would be more a question when Tanner comes back online.
Perfect.
I did speak to him today, Matt, to invite him to come along for a chat. But he wants to wait for another week at least so he can give some some more details on the work. He's give more feedback, basically.
Awesome.
So yeah, I spoke to
Awesome.
him today, and he's probably the one to answer that. But it addresses some of the issues that have been raised within the community, blockchain stalls, yeah, stuff like that.
I know there's another question. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Matt. Sorry, Matt. Yeah, it's probably better if because last Saturday, Tanner said, yeah, maybe this week we have to some new informations, but it's better to have confirmed and solid answers or informations than to spread out some in between informations because
Fair enough.
a lot of people are saying, yeah, the communication doesn't work and we get no info. But the thing is that it's if you ain't happy or finished with your work, uh, it's too soon to give an information. It's like I'm talking about my job. Likewise, it's
Yeah.
when I'm in between. I don't say, yeah, maybe this is defect, or maybe that is defect, or maybe it's something else, or maybe it's that. Then the customer says, hey, this guy has no idea what he's doing. So it's rather better to say nothing and then tell them the
Yeah.
final whatever.
So just
Yeah.
briefly, just to share a little bit of info without technical, the recent issues with the ring, the bot issue for the proof of play, they're on a direction now with that and making good progress, and some other stuff we talked about. But he wants to come. Tanner's a professional and a perfectionist. He wants to come with credible information. So I'm hoping that in the next week that we will have more feedback for you guys.
That's great.
I would like to add something to Fred. Like you said, Tanner always he doesn't do announcement of the announcement. You know, he's not that kind of person.
Yes.
So he's like, and 100. He needs like 100. It has to be 100%. He's a coder. You know, like you said, he's professional and he needs something 100%. He doesn't want to push. You know, like why we don't see too many commit on our GitHub, because he doesn't do those things. You know, he just want to make sure it works. Testing, and then he finally push it. So
Yeah, 100%.
something is happening. He's somewhere there. You know, we are somewhere there on testing phase. So definitely will come out.
Yeah, and just
I
you're correct,
agree.
Rob. Thanks for that. Sorry, Matt, just one thing.
Please.
Because I'm the type of person with business development. I often want announcements to go out, So sometimes we can conflict and have some interesting debates. So Rabtai is quite correct. But I do, when we're handling technology that will be securing people's assets, and of course the proof of play, when we're taking Ring to the next level and LCC, the goal is to take it professionally, to have interested parties that could be interested to include their own games through the APIs that's being created. So it's more than just fixing the bot. It's actually getting it to a point where we're in a position that we can sit around seriously with people to discuss collaborations for this thing, because this thing has got a great potential. So when I do sit down and talk to him and get an understanding from where he's coming, there is a broader picture than just providing limited feedback or temporary solutions. This is why often it takes a long time to get this right, because we want to get it right for the future. That's the whole point with these projects. We want to set it up for collaborators that that will stay with us and form good partnerships for longer term, and even to get us a seat at the table, Matt, if you understand where I'm going with this. So to be in a tech-ready position to be able to take a seat at the table and discuss this with interested collaborators.
So let me ask you about that, because this, and if this is an uninteresting topic, we can drop it. But what I've been thinking about today is, as you talk about use cases and getting a seat at the table, with different collaborators. What I wondered is, I still struggle to see, okay, where does cryptocurrency where does it fit in someone's daily life? And one of the things I noticed, we were, mentioning earlier online here, when I was noticing the HivePool, right? That's been the one thing that I've consistently made LCC at, is the HivePool. And yet it's, if you look at dollar value, it's very little what I've earned based on my standards. But if I look at like half the world's population, so 3 billion people, what I've earned in HivePool in the last, probably 3 months or so is about $1.25, which is what 3 billion people in the world, that's a daily money requirement for them. So for a certain part of this planet, this kind of thing can actually generate, I would say, lifestyle changing amounts of money, potentially. Or is that one of the realms that you kind of see this going?
One thing I want to add is if you look
Please.
at the 7 days chart, LCC to Bitcoin didn't move. Even Bitcoin went up, went down, had a huge crash. It was kind of solid.
Yes. So are you saying or suggesting that LCC is a stable coin?
No, it's not a stable
Oh.
coin, but I mean, it's people always claim, oh, we lost 10% or whatever. It's to what? To Bitcoin, to real money, and the question is, and I don't want to even start to get into what is real money, because I'm reading the Bitcoin standard from Amir Safud, and I tell you, we are fucked with real money. Okay, that's it for me.
I'd like to add a comment here when you.
Please.
I see it as because Bitcoin is considered the gold standard,
Which it isn't.
well, in cryptocurrency, for example, if one is critical or one takes a view or understanding how the current financial world is, if anybody has noticed what's happened in Europe and Germany with the collapse of Wirecard, once a darling of the German DAX, with protected by overseers, etc. One must think that the financial structure is hanging on a thread with dilution. I'm not going to go there because I could talk for days on this. This is my opinion. Cryptocurrency is going to hold an alternative. It's transportable, the way gold did in the past. This is my view. LCC is running on the Bitcoin as a hashing destination, so will be in existence while Bitcoin is in existence. The whole issue with price, I'm not concerned one bit, and I've invested a lot of my own money in this. I'm not concerned at the moment for the simple reason is that price will be, of any tradable commodity, will rise and fall based on supply and demand. Okay, so if we grow our community, and you asked another question about use cases, Matt. If we have 200,000 in our community and businesses see, if financial structures go to a point where businesses, we're already seeing it with the coronavirus, if businesses are folding or collapsing or looking to restructure or seeing cost savings, blockchain and cryptocurrency can hold an alternative, and certainly can hold an interest for businesses that would see cost savings. So the main point for us is to grow community, and the community will come with their own ideas and use cases, and it grows organically. Cryptocurrency is their thing, and whether that holds a big part or a small part, or whether the collaborations that we would see on the future of our blockchains would choose to use LCC, that's what we hope, and Ring, whether it's in gaming or entertainment or standard business. This is boutique. This can be very, very interesting for people, but the main point is growing community, and community then will come with supply and demand. If we have marketing in place and we have some more solid exchanges, and we have more miners that would come from Bitcoin that would see profits, the price can rise very, very quickly, But the main
and I agree.
Yeah.
Keep going.
the main point I just want to say here is that the focus we should have is to grow our community, provide a place where they can come, interact, learn about it in a relaxed way, and this is key, I think, for the growth of this project.
I think
I'd like to talk
Raptile
more
wants to
about that.
want to say something.
Please, Raptile.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to add two things. First, use case, right? It's my personal opinion, and the way I think is there's like thousands of good coin. Like let's say you can count hundreds of good coin, right? Cryptocurrency. Why would somebody want to use your coin, right? So the
Yes.
way I think is, I think cryptocurrency needs a use case, right? There has to be. I mean, it's my opinion. Like I said, even Bitcoin, right? Right now, Bitcoin, okay, he's the godfather of all the coins. Okay, that's fine. What about in 30 years, right? What about in 40 years? There is no Bitcoin, any use case for Bitcoin. Like let's say all the transactions will be empty, right? Like the blank transaction, and there will be no use case for it. Nobody gonna literally like there is no use. I mean that's how I feel it, right? Another thing I want to talk about is like Matt said, people like because of the technology that we have in Ring and LCC. Because one, you don't need a big like heavy strong machine. Even like a smaller like the cheapest laptop you can Hive. Also cheapest laptop you can Ring. So if we can use that technology, and there's a several countries, people can literally like have a cheapest desktop or laptop, and they can mine your.
So if you're kind of cutting in and out, Rabtai. If I can just sum up what you said, is you were talking about use case for LCC. That one advantage that LCC has and that Ring can have is that the barrier to entry is very, very low, especially with say HivePool, where with just your phone or like a library desktop, you could start trading LCC. So it allows people with little means to enter the game. Is that right? Or I mangled it beyond recognition. There we go. What's that? It is correct.
Correct.
Rap, you sound like you're in a tube, in a man-height tube,
Or in a way
in
you could
some
say,
canal.
yeah, like I guess.
Of course, Raptile is correct. The
Oh,
future
there's Ed.
for use of cryptocurrency for use cases. But like with the internet and the evolution of the internet to the point, it comes where it grows organically. And if the community of LCC and Ring grows exponentially, they bring their use cases in. They see its adoption. They try to see how it can be integrated into their own business. So this is where I see that we should be thinking of growing the community. Of course, it's correct to say that use cases will be so vital for the sustainability of our own individual projects. But I see that coming from the growth in community, Matt. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, and it's interesting as I listen to this that there seems to be this binary between growing the community and developing use case. And what I'm seeing is they're really hand in glove, right? As we add to our community, we're gaining hopefully use cases. And all I've seen so far, because I mean, and this is through general crypto, communities at large, is mainly you're looking for equity growth in the coin. But then when we talk about actual use case, it seems that LCC's strong point is mineability, right? Like someone with very little means can start mining LCC.
Correct.
And then my question would be, if you're, let's say, one of the 300 billion people in the world with very little means, and a large group of that population is either in India or in China, because right there you're looking at about 700 million people that are below poverty. If someone could mine a coin on like a cheap desktop or a phone, and they could make like $1, right, which in that area has a lot of spending power, how could they convert that from, their phone to, the shop? Or does anyone in the community know anything about these types of small economies?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, because the space is evolving and it's quite user unfriendly, personally, for me, if you're a member of, if you sign up for any of the exchanges, you have to be familiar at the moment. This needs to change. The swap, the swap platforms that we have are much easier. They can be changed on the straight from your mobile, direct to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin now can be sent directly to, for example, I use the Wirex card and app, and that's fantastic. You send your Bitcoin to Wirex, or you send normal currency to Wirex. In 5 minutes, it's in euro or in US or any currency that you register in. You practically have a use case anyway, because euro and US is still, of course, will play a major role. So Wirex is what I'm using to convert. It's very, very simple.
Okay.
Yeah, if people want to check that out. But at the moment, there's a couple of steps that has to be done, which puts a lot of people away from it, or not quite understanding it. It has to become a point where it's simple to exchange, probably directly. The idea would be to have LCC and Ring growing so much where these apps, these swap apps, directly on your phone will list us as an automatic listing, to begin with. This is where we want to go with it. And then it's very simple. Check out the Wirex. It's already in existence. I use it for the last 18 months. It's perfect.
I'll check it out. I just posted a link to it, so I'm going to check it in. I know now that I think about it, the Cash app will convert immediately from Bitcoin to US dollar. And I'm assuming that Cash in other countries would convert to the, currency of choice, but you still need a bank account, right? Does Wirex require you to have a bank account, or is Wirex itself the negotiable tool?
Yeah, I think Wirex does require you to have a bank account.
May I say something?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, the thing is about every time changing into fiat is you really should. Okay, if you need it for running your miner equipment or your PC or your power bills or something, okay, I understand that. But my opinion is don't swap back to fiat. It's because what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a possibility to avoid all the inflation and volatility of the fiat currency, and especially now with the COVID-19 situation, it's obviously that all the currencies like US dollar and euro and whatever, yeah, is losing value. So, in my opinion, if I have something in cryptocurrency, I don't move out. Okay, honestly, I do swap to USD Tether because after let's say 10% rise on one day with no indication or information why it rises that way, I go to the US Tether, and a day later when it goes back, I gonna go back into the cryptocurrency of my choice.
Yeah, no, I get your point, mate. I was just referring to Matt's question regarding how would somebody
Sure,
get
sure.
LCC into it for use within their own. And of course, I hold a very clear opinion on what one Bitcoin would purchase in relation to, example, euro now, or what it would do in 10 years' time. So you're talking about your opinion, or your comment there is about philosophy or use cases right now, and or ability to convert LCC, and it's there.
Correct.
That's all I was referring to. But of course, the philosophy of what you mentioned is quite relevant.
And so this would be interesting. Is it sounds like if maybe LCC, because it's cheap and it's fast, right, for spending. if someone without a bank account had a chance to convert, LCC to a current currency, or to a currency in that, let's say, an area where 3 billion people are, who are, at the poverty,
Yeah.
that could open up a big community potentially.
Yeah,
sorry.
getaways are the point of evening, guys and girls.
Hey, Fed.
Hello, Fed.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I missed the first part of story, but it sounds me interesting to hear that you are talking about Bitcoin payments, because today was a free webinar from Kraken people that was talking about this also.
What were they saying?
Well, I just jumped in for a bit. I couldn't attend more, but their lead Bitcoin strategist was hosting a panel discussion highlighting benefits of Bitcoin payments and promoting it like yeah, they were saying that if you accept Bitcoin payments, it's a way to give you monetary freedom and blah blah blah. It's interesting because a lot of philosophical discussion around this, and as I shared with this before, was a lot of this history of money thing around all of this. Sometimes put things out of context, right? I really
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
If I could, go ahead, Fred.
no, I get where Fed is coming from, because I read an interesting article on Medium recently. It's a difficult question when you're talking to people in business. I'm working often with a lot of financiers that would come and pick up aircraft. They're spending hundreds of millions, and I often get a chance to speak to these people and their thoughts, and it's quite dismissed. You'd be very surprised with educated people, even in high finance, what they think, but it's often that they're unaware of actually what's going on around them in the financial world, because it just cannot continue. It's a simple fact. It cannot continue to be diluting on the level that they're diluting US and euro, to the point of propping up economies that are virtually bankrupt, and expect that without hyperinflation or whatever, that the spending power will be the same. Your $10,000 that you would spend on one Bitcoin, I couldn't see how that could be in 10 years' time. Anyway, I couldn't even see how it could be equivalent. So I really, really see a very, very significant shift into a storage of wealth, apart from spending the currency on use cases as a storage of wealth and as a hedge. So this is very interesting, where Fed is going. I hope you understand where I'm going with this. It's difficult for me to explain it.
Yeah, I don't know that I see where you're going. So you're talking about the cryptocurrency as a hedge against a volatile economy,
Fiat.
as you say.
Fiat. Money,
which is being diluted.
Yeah, exactly.
You would. Sorry, guys. You will have. Like I said, I'm just digging into the Bitcoin standard, and after World War One, I think. No, after World War Two, the real inflation was actually 42%. Yeah, but they covered it up by printing money and giving money away. So the only possibility at the moment is gold, if the banks still support it. Because I read an article that the banks are getting out of gold because it's too complicated now with the COVID situation to transfer it and everything else.
Exactly.
So where is it going? What is the hedge at the moment? As we talk about Bitcoin is too much related to the S&P 500, and what I've seen in the last months is like the people, not people, institutions spend some gains of the stock market into Bitcoin, and when the stock market is going down, they remove it to buy more stocks, and that's the thing. And the other thing is for cryptocurrency overall, if you have miners, they have to pay their bills. So if we not lure, but if we say Bitcoin miners or ex-Bitcoin miners with lower ASIC gear, come to LCC. What they're gonna do? They, as soon as they gain some LCC, they're gonna convert it into money because they need to pay their bills.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So with that, Fred, I keep talking about what you're trying to articulate.
Yeah. What I'm trying to get at is that I really see the financial structure coming down very hard. Really, I've been talking about this for many years. The collapse of Wirecard recently from the DAX, I'll go back to this. If people want to do their own research, is significant. It's going to have ripples in the financial market, because it's not that they were incompetently managing the company. They were fraudulent in hiding 2.1 billion of funds. Now, they were supported by the authorities and the regulators and even up to the politicians at the highest level. In a nation like Germany that portrays a what's the word I'm looking for?
Pseudo-solid.
Yeah, it's pseudo-solid, particularly in the euro. And what I'm saying is, on top of the dilution of the currencies and what's going on in the financial sector, at some point it's bound to collapse, Matt. And I see crypto space taking a very blue sky, a lot of interest coming into it from money that will be exiting the financial markets in the not too distant future. It really is, in my opinion, set for a major correction. And Bitcoin is apart from, as we talked about, use cases and its spending ability, a digital storage that holds many safe potential options for people into the future, you know? And this is where I'm seeing a lot of interest coming into the cryptocurrency space.
As larger economies or fiat economies collapse.
Yeah, or if we want to call it collapse, I mean, collapse is it's mismanaged. It's incompetent. The oversight is not there. The generation of never-ending profits to keep the super rich, influencing governments. I don't want to go on a political speech here, but it's financial mismanagement, and it's just designed to protect the corporations in exactly the same way as they protect Wirecard. All the regulator did in Germany when the two reporters from
but Wirecard filed bankruptcy yesterday.
Yes, they did. It's exactly the point. All the overseer did in Germany that's supposed to watch the markets was take a legal action case against the two journalists and protected Wirecard from short selling. They protected the company, even though there's red flags all over the company. And if a company like Wirecard wants a darling 30 billion of the German DAX and a hope for fintech in Europe can create a fraud on their books for the last 10 years, how many more companies are doing this? And on top of that, on the blockchain, you can't hide. One more point: you cannot hide 2.1 billion. Financial transactions on the blockchain are forever there logged. You cannot. How can you just lose 2.1 billion? You know, it's crazy. So these are the things that concern me, and this is where I see cryptocurrency playing a role apart from spending. If there's millions and millions and millions of users that want to spend Bitcoin or LCC, retailers will have to use it. If there's millions or there's so many trillions or hundreds of millions of dollars going into Bitcoin, it's an accepted storage of wealth. It's definitely going to play a role.
Yeah, I agree. If I could hop on one thing there, I wanted to kind of take this at a slightly different angle, because really what I hear you saying in essence is that, you know, it's not that these markets are collapsing, but as fraud becomes more and more apparent in the system, because there is no transparency or very little, then, you know, people start looking for a system that is more transparent. But let me take this just a slightly different direction. I was shocked when Tanner, or I think it was Tanner, or maybe it was Scarlett, I think it was Scarlett actually mentioned that the reason the names were what they were was, I guess LCC, the devs had patterned themselves after Robinhood, right? To steal from the rich and give to the poor. And I've always had that sense that LCC kind of had an eye toward that community. And so I know one thing, you know, as economies print more and more money, if we create more demand, in other words, if there are more people able to buy, consumers, you actually can, you know, potentially eat up some of that oversupply. And part of my wondering has been, how do we, you know, take 3 billion people who are essentially outside the financial system and start to on-ramp them, and whether LCC could play a role in that.
I can give a little idea or an answer for the direction
Please.
that I would. Cryptocurrency is one thing. I mean, there's only 1%, I think, if I'm correct. I read a stat that only people that are owning cryptocurrency is 1% of the population. 99% not in the world. 99% of not. So I think it's not that we are on the wrong direction, but once we establish our business plan and have funding in place, it's a matter of bringing community in, not to encourage them to educate and to teach people and to help them and to come into our community, as you said earlier, Matt, where we're raining LCC. They can have an automatic crypto wallet. We're sharing amongst the community. In the meantime, they're learning. And this is what the Ring has got a real potential. Come in, entertain themselves, play games, Rialto encrypted chat, possibly sending files. To bring a place where, for example, open turntables on a Friday, they entertain themselves. They come in and get entertained. Saturday Night Hive. These initiatives are key. And, you know, where it's not that we force or preach the opinion of cryptocurrency. Often I feel in the business that I'm sort of banging my head against the wall, because it's hard to encroach upon the normal business space that is so occupied with generating profits. But they can come, they can feel part of the community, they can entertain themselves. We can play music, we can talk about crypto, they can become interested. And if they're interested in and our community grows, well, of course the projects grow with it. You know, so I would like to think of the direction that we could go is to make these people feel welcome, and to join our community as community members. Do you know what I mean? Just like I did when I joined from the beginning. And
Yeah,
crypto
and
is a thing, but it's about community, where they want to take this crypto, what use cases they want to bring. That's the focus I think that we have to have with this, is to grow our community large. And they all feel part of it. If people are feeling part of the community and part of the project or part of ownership, well, I think the growth is going to come from this.
Fred, let me ask one thing. What should we do to get the community? You know, that's the biggest question, because we need community, right? We have a product,
Yes.
we need community. We have a use case and still working on it, but how should
Yeah.
we get the community?
Marketing, strategy of marketing, a budget in place, sustainable budget.
Sorry, but that's the golden question for every coin.
Yeah,
When
but,
do we,
Every coin is not LCC or Ring. We have a magic here. We have a great potential and a great base. Why are people still here, even though our coin is languishing sometimes on low volume exchanges? We're planning for the future. You have a home here. I have a home here. I know I love this project. I spend a lot of hours trying to make it work, as you guys do. You're taking the
Yeah,
initiative.
no. I don't want to be, I don't know, offensive or something. No, that's really the question for every cryptocurrency, or it's actually the question for every business: how to get attention.
Well, and that's what I kind of went back to, is I thought, I certainly know what say a developed country has interest in, and I just don't know much about undeveloped countries and areas. But I thought, that's a huge market that
Yes.
if we have a reason for people to come here, which could be making small amounts of money, which in their economy has a much larger effect than it would in any of ours, maybe that's one way to grow the community as we start to see kind of the world's needs for a financial system that works for everyone versus just wealthy people.
Yeah, that's
I
quite
mean,
correct, Matt. I mean, I don't want to really get into discuss the business plan at the moment. I'm really looking forward to sharing
yeah,
with you guys a plan at some point in the not too distant future. But I will say one thing: part of the plan is to have funding in place, to have some funding to have global area managers that are going to be responsible for their individual regions and reporting to a
okay.
defined structure within. Now, I don't want to really go too. Please don't push me on the on
No.
this, because it's taking time to finalize it, to get it correct before
Yeah,
we can sit down at the table. I mentioned this some weeks ago, but part of that initial plan is to have global area managers, some funding in place initially for a period, responsible reporting through head of community development, for example. Yeah, and funding initiatives within their community. That's part of that's one initiative. Of course, having marketing in place to have regular quarterly press releases and continued with social media manager, or all of these things that are permanently in place. At the moment we're voluntary,
yeah.
So the big part of it is we are asking people to give up their time. And I know that for the last 3 months, and for everybody, it's been such a huge
It's a
burden
meat
trying to deal
grinder.
with, yeah,
Yeah.
I personally have gone through the ringer in the last 3 months. So it's
Oh yeah.
hard. And while it's voluntary, it's not consistent, And so
Yeah.
this is where we're going to go with this. I just want to answer Devil's question as well regarding the ring. The reason that we're very optimistic and very very keen on the ring's future success is that it's such an easy platform to download. With a laptop or computer, you can mine with your CPU. You can purchase ring, or you can earn it from proof of play when it's up, and when the bugs that are in place are fixed. Getting gamers on board, APIs, and with the Rialto has the potential to be a huge deal.
Yes,
So
it
this
really
is
does.
a platform in place where you're having it all in one. Do you know what I mean? You're having it all in one.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You can talk to people. You can play. It's got a potential to really grow, and this is what we really want to focus on. And marketing to get people interested. Entertainment within the community that, hey, okay, yeah, we're cryptocurrency. This is what we're doing. If you're interested in collaborating, we have a structure in place with developers that can support and provide consultancy to help you integrate your business. We have project managers, moderators, people that doing specific roles, global area managers. This is how we intend to sort of take it out into the global arena.
Perfect.
But as
Fred,
yeah, sorry, go ahead, mate.
I was just going to say, this is funny. You'll probably laugh. I remember you talking about the business plan, which it feels like now a lifetime ago. It couldn't have been that long, but I'd completely forgotten about it. And I guess I come back to, one of the unique things about this space is we have some uniquely talented developers. I'd say on the level of like a Steve Jobs and Wozniak, right? But back
Yeah.
when they started in the 70s, and where we are right now is, I guess, one thing. In order to really understand how to grow the community and use case, we need the business plan. Then people say, when is the business plan coming? And we say, you know what? These guys have delivered over a 2-year period of time. It will come. You can count on it coming. It may take a little bit, but it'll get here. And when it gets here, we can really move this forward because there's a structure. In the meantime, I guess we can talk and dream and keep pulling in bits of information. But I'm glad you came back to the business plan, because I forgot that piece is coming, and that's going to be huge.
It's
in
already
terms of
done, Matt.
growing the community.
I'd like to tell you, it's
Oh, it is.
practically, yeah, it's practically finalized, but there's certain details of where we might seek funding and what areas are more enticing or encouraging, or what direction for funding. I don't want to really go too deep in it, but
And you don't need to. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
because it wants to be done
but
right before you present it, and I get that.
I just want to say, like, there's regular people that are taking the initiative here for a long time and stay loyal, and that magic can extend to the general public. But the people that are stepping up here will be taking the leadership roles, I would envisage, into the future, because it's a massive market that we can get into, and we have to believe in it.
Yes.
And I certainly do. There's no question. It wouldn't be putting all these hours in voluntarily. It's got a great potential. As probably a lot of cryptocurrency projects are competing with each other.
Yes.
They're competing with each other, but there's such an untapped. Hey, we have to just bring people in that are not afraid of the space, that feel comfortable, that can play their own music, like Devil has organized this fantastic thing.
Totally.
But all of this takes time, and I'm very sorry. I know that the wheels turn slowly, and sometimes I've been missing myself over the last 5 or 6 weeks. But
we need to get exactly the on-ramp, and not actually the off-ramp, but the on-ramp faster. Because, for example, Swap.io is, first you have to convert to Bitcoin, and then you can convert to LCC. And then there is the brain problem for some people that I have to swap to Bitcoin and then to LCC. I'm gonna lose money. No, you don't, because you're changing it with the actual value. That's the thing. And
yeah, these are the things that general public are very apprehensive to even think about this at the moment. Even for a lot of people to even simply to buy from Coinbase or register in their account on to buy Bitcoin is quite daunting. But this is early stages. Where we are, we can consider ourselves quite lucky, I would think, to potentially have an influence on a role if people should see the same vision and we have a shared vision. So you're right, Devil. It's such an early space, and it's so difficult at the moment to encourage people to try and learn this themselves. It took me quite a few years, but I think if we can provide like a home away from home, have that sort of welcoming feeling for people, promote it in such a way with a marketing budget in place and regular events like this. Well, this is where I'm seeing it.
That's a great point.
Can,
So we're on the road. Even this conversation right here is a piece of the total larger picture as we build our community.
Oh, we're completely on the road. A lot of the stuff that goes on, I know it has been quiet of late. That's for sure. I mean, people have to get their personal lives. People have to get their personal lives in order as well. But there's definitely like a plan in place to give it a go, to give this a go. There's a lot to come from these projects. We're believing in it, and Yeah, as I said the last time a few weeks ago, my connection was terrible then, but I said something a few weeks ago is that we intend to be here for the long term.
Yes.
We're not going, we're not going under, we're not going bust, we're not switching out the lights, we're not going in any place. We intend to be here for the long term. So a lot of the work,
I couldn't support that more. Absolutely.
yeah. So if it takes time, so be it. It takes time.
Yes.
And that's the way it is. That's just simply the way it's going to be at the moment. A lot of projects will fold, and a lot of them are not doing any development. The one thing that's so impressive about this project is we're continuing to innovate and develop.
Yes. And that's what I look at as the key point, and maybe that's where we are right now, and what people like me and others can probably do best, those of us that have been watching this for a couple of years, is assure any new members this isn't going anywhere. They are at a sustainable pace, right? It will only get faster from here. But the pace we're at right now, you can trust the project going forward because you can see the results of the past. And this project,
we are still. And if you take all these even listed 7,500 coins, yeah, they disappear day by day.
yes, because
Yeah.
nothing's going in development. And this thing in the silences, what I think most people worry about is, oh, they've dropped the project. The silences are no, they're back in the mine, they're working on the product. It's going to come out again soon. On a basis of months, this project moves quickly. On a basis of days, it's slowly. That's what I've observed, at least.
Yeah, you're right. I'm disappointed as well. Like, I am frustrated is the word also sometimes with the pace, because often it's not week to week that we can report stuff, and
Sure.
and while stuff is going on, yeah, people are very, it's dangerous, Matt, because people flip from project to project wanting to make 100% in a week. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous what the expectation is,
Yes.
And that's the whole point. People should have realistic expectations if they invest in a project. Um, Rabtai made a very interesting comment. He's taken, I don't remember what he said, 3 or 5 years. Well, that's very realistic,
Yes.
If you were in normal equity markets and you had a head on your shoulder, you would think about returning a profit of 100%, which is good, in 7 years or 8 years.
Yes. Correct.
So,
In 7 or 8 years.
it's these the people that we really want. It's the people that we have here at this meeting tonight. The people like you guys, these people that are showing this are the future leaders. And yeah, okay, people can complain in the channels that we don't provide enough feedback, but they will take, if there was an artificial pump and dump, they will dump their profit. Okay, everyone is mercenary in some way. They will dump their profit on someone who purchased 300%. Look, we have a responsibility towards our community, and that's a responsibility we take seriously. We want to grow it. We want to grow the price. We want it on more exchanges. We want the marketing. We want everything that the community suggests. And the biggest often observation or criticism that people say is that there's not enough marketing or there's not enough. Well, you have to have it targeted specific or you're wasting your money. And you have to have the product and the technology developed to then start the market. And then if you think that you're in those positions, well, then you're ready to take a seat and go head to head with bigger projects. But we're going to do it professionally. We've never asked for anything. Yeah.
If I could add one thing, I just got what you were talking about before, but it's in a different, so a side career I have is writing, right? And I had written a piece back in 2012 that got a lot of attention, and I had an agent reach out to me. And if I had been prepared with a novel and other, ideas that were better developed, I could have capitalized on that. As it was, I couldn't. So I'm back to, developing my writing. That's what you're talking about with LCC is we don't want to really go out there in a big way until we have a much more sustainable foundation. And I mean, the tech is there, but you need also a business organization, right? And that's what you're
Exactly.
talking about that needs to be developed before we really take a seat at the table.
100%. Say, for example, you put
That
quarterly
makes
press
sense.
releases. You put quarterly press releases. All of these ICO projects will raise millions. They'll market like fuck. And then it's gone. Like,
Yes.
we don't, if we're going to have money for marketing, it's going to be spent wisely and targeted specifically. So what I'm saying here is that, yeah, you're just wasting your money for some pump and dump that we're just not going to do. And we're almost there. We're not far away from fixing some tech issues and being in a position to be able to target specifically, comfortably, with a campaign to bring people into the community, to learn about it, and take it from there. Yeah, so it's exactly what you're saying, Matt. We won't be spending money just the sake of marketing for, how can I say, until we're ready and in a position to support the growth. Imagine we put four press releases out. We get a lot of growth and we're all over the place. We're not organized. People are not managing the projects so a lot of foundation work has to go in before this can happen.
So really, the time and money right now is going into development, foundation work for now. That will change in the future, but it won't change right now. And that's okay. That's actually a good thing for the future of this project.
Yeah, that's correct. There's a few things that need to be done with the ring. Issues that have to be addressed with the blockchain stalls, a few technical points. Business plan is all but finalized. So it's not far away from being in a position now to take it to the next step.
I love it. Thank you. It's funny. I was watching an old Steve Jobs. He was talking to a group of students in the early 90s. And this is back when Steve Jobs had been fired from Apple and was, working on, I think it was called Nextel or Nexel. Anyway, it was a computer cube. But I sat there and I listened to all the things that he and Wozniak had gone through and all the time for development. And Apple didn't explode in a huge way until after many, many, many years, even decades, right? And so you can't judge the project by what we see today, but you can judge it on the quality of the work that's been done till now. And that quality is very high. So that gives me hope for the future.
Yeah, and I'd just like to finish on one point. You've really
Please.
touched it. I didn't want to think about the Rialto on our platform of Ring and its implication, but what's going on over the world with supposed encrypted platforms. Think about its implications, what that could mean for people that can come to our community, where they can share files or share chat. Think about taking that portable, the possibility into the future, and what that can mean. And think about what's going on in the world with fake news and everything that's being monitored. Cambridge Analytica, Facebook's on the way out. It's a matter of dreaming the dream, and thinking about how we could play a role. And we are very ambitious. So this is the thing where I go back to the marketing. To be in a position to have this. Otherwise, we're not marketing to our full potential. And Rialto in itself alone, put on a simple downloaded platform, the potential is enormous.
Yeah, for anyone, literally anyone out there with very low bar to entry to have high quality encryption, especially if you're in a like North Korea, right, or somewhere where the government controls so much information. So that's one piece of it. But you said something about fake news. I mean, so that's huge, right? Thank you, everyone.
No worries, guys. Thank you. I hope I didn't ramble on too much.
No.
Cool. No. I mean, we have to talk about kind of everything to get people to understand what's happening inside and outside.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Fred, when you said fake news, blockchain is uniquely suited to prove or to basically break through fake news, because you have a way of proving authenticity, right? That can't be altered, and that is literally society changing. That is so
Exactly.
huge.
And file sharing ability encrypted and secured by the same assets that secure your cryptocurrency. I mean, it's my head spins sometimes when I think about its possibilities. And
Yeah,
it's
my
only
head just started to spin when you said that. I was like, yeah. I get it. That's huge.
Just one other thing,
Thanks
guys.
for,
Before you go.
please.
Talking about marketing, this thing that you guys have created and you've said, even this alone has got such a great interest for people to come and listen to us speak. And the Saturday Night Hive, even these two initiatives alone are such to get the ball rolling to bring this into the general public. Come and listen to us talking. There's some wonderful conversations. And thanks again for this initiative. It's really cool, guys. Well done.
Love you
Thank
too.
you.
Okay. Let's resume some music. Guys,
Party on, guys. Party on.
have a
Thank
good
you.
day, have a good night, have a good
Thank you.
everything,
Thank you.
and stay
Thank you.
safe.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care. Stay healthy, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thank you
again.
all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fed. Thanks,
Thank you, man.
Rabtai.